Graduates, walk one, walk one. This a mad girl them. Mad, 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 mad. Wee! Good afternoon, Marcia. Good afternoon, Kiki Ram. What's up, Noriax? Jeanette Johnson, big up your nice, clean self. I see you. Professor Gorgeous Lady, blessings, blessings indeed. Let's see who else is in class. As we all come in, make sure that you like up the live. Big up yourself, Marencha, girl, so nice. Dawn, well, gone. As Dawn says, welcome one, welcome all to HTK's Live. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to show appreciation to the channel. Okay, so do that as you enter class. Cause we're going to a few things. I need to clear up some stuff. Judith Bailey, big up yourself. Survivor Hands, big up yourself. Survivor's Hands, don't worry, hon. I haven't gotten to your message yet, but I will. Give me some time. Rosemary Lunan, good evening. Margaret Hamil, big up yourself. And let's see who else. Who else is here? Loving the Purple Hearts. Good afternoon, creations. Audrey, big up yourself. Kimmy 416, big up yourself. Shauna Geddes, well gone. Shay, what's up? Simone Barton Joseph, I see you. Lard HTK, I was just in the middle of your last live. I had to screenshot the timestamp. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Yeah, today is a live day. Yeah, live day. You know why? Me soon tell you why. Misunderstood. Big up yourself, Brenda Bryan. How are you doing? Don't want to miss anyone at all. Bring thing to the class and thank you. You're there again. Yes, man, sizzling hot. Well, God. Once your notification come, you're present. I like that. I like that. I like that. Right. We are gonna go into some stuff. No, let me go back to this first before I go into the main contents. You understand? Steph B, big up yourself, big up yourself. Lynn Emmanuel, big up yourself. Hi, Beverly. Boy, people, you know that I try my very best. When I tell you that I'm moving on, I try to move on. And you see, you trolls out there do not understand how HTK works, you know. No. You see, the Plankatarians, them and the Planka enemies, them have an idea because because they've been following me for a long time. But some of you seem to think that I am easily intimidated. You understand? You have got misconceptions in your head that HGK is a coward and that little cyberbullying are gonna make me go in. Hmm? I am fully seasoned in YouTube life. Fully. Mm-hmm. Me deal with all sort out here already. Some of which una cannot even amount to. But you know what they have learned about me? That if you keep disturbing her, she will not stop. Me a Taurus, you know. Taurus to the bone. And where Taurus are concerned, if you poke the bull, it will be 10 times worse. It's best when you see the bull arrest. You just leave her alone. But you see, because some of you think that intimidation is a measure of silencing where I'm concerned, or calling me names. Let me tell you something. No name uno call me can't shape me because none of uno not pay my bills. No name uno call me can't shape me. Especially when it's coming from the voice of a old, backward, semi-literate who cannot even string a sentence together. Especially when the individual who is speaking can even show them face. Hmm? But what you will not do is use my content in your mess because I will finish you. So I hope you enjoyed that little clap that you got. Hmm? And there's more coming. Yeah. Can remember say we move in a group, And you have some of our group people features by your thing. It a come, man. Yeah? It a come. But in addition to that, when you come up into my comments and you want to make all kind of feisty remarks, yeah, of course I'm gonna block you. But not before I dip up under you and tell you about your parts. And then you're gonna see it and wish you can respond and you can't. You have to go build another page. You hear that? Mm-hmm. But what you won't do is silence me. That not gonna work. It's better you be nice. You understand? Because it will continue and it will continue. Me a part Indian. Mm-hmm. Part Coolie. You ever hear about Coolie Duppy yet? You ever hear what when Coolie Duppy text said Payo? Yeah, right? So when I tell you that, when you're not doing a foolishness over here with regards to this case, it now go done. You better believe it. So if you truly love these people, and keep on your fingers to yourself. If you truly love these people, don't come over here. I have warned you. All right. In addition to that, no. So that aside, come done with that. Let me turn this on. Because if you ain't contributing to the stats, you no belong over here. You understand? Mm-hmm. All right, let's see that. Put it there. Yes, that is it. Right. Save. Mm-hmm. Members only. Subscribers only. We don't want a jengbeng over here. We don't want a roach. We don't want an insect. Yeah? So that is it. But in addition to that, no. Boy, what a way my life I'm at some people. So me don't see you. Me don't see you. I do not see you. And I'm not going to resurrect no dead over here. You hear? So when uno oversaw, I call up my name. When uno oversaw, I wonder about HDK love life. And how HDK love life are mad out some of uno. Hmm? I tell you something. You see that nice sweet man what I have? Hmm. You see that nice sweet man what I have? We're mad, mad, mad on out. I'll tell you a little trick to how to get one for yourself. But I don't really think it will work for you. You understand? Because you're gonna have to literally erase your entire history. Right? Um, to get a man like that, your brain have to good. But apart from your brain being good, see, apart from your brain being good, you have to have good principles and good morals. I'm giving you advice. Good principles, good morals. Right? Them man don't like nothing fake. Everything have a real, genuine, and tight. Yes. Yes. All of that a fair go on. Mm-hmm. I'm not such a saint of mine. Yes, you have to be. You have to have a whole heap of skills. Mhm. You have to have a whole heap of skills. You have to have the snapback, mates. No one them will make them man them ball out. You can't be dashing it all over the place, left, right, and center, particularly, be known for that. Some of us was busy in school, studying books, not studying man. You understand? Yeah. So before my love life, I do know out. Go and get your own. My standards have always been high, and I've never failed. Never. Yes, because I know my worth and my value. Yes. And I don't sink that standard. Hmm? Yeah, trust and believe. So don't make my life mad you out, yeah? Go and get your own. Yes, go get your own. Poor thing. Loneliness a killer. Anyway, me go be myself, me go be myself. But done for that, sir. Me done for that, sir. Eh? No girl can style me, no girl. With them, they kind of track a record. Can't look over your so. None at all. So continue to mad out. Because you're going to mad out for the rest of your life. Anyway, we're going to move on. Hey, Pamela. Yeah. Me I tell you straight away, them a praying, man. Hmm? And I don't have to dash nothing. I get all the dashing. Peer spoiling over here. Me spoil so till me spoil, see? Hey, me spoil? Lord Jesus. The man love me, love me, love me, love me, love me, love the ground when I walk pan and me love him too. Mm-hmm. That's enough for no. Yeah? Irreplaceable. Right. Let me come off of this and we'll go down into the next things. You understand? Right. So let's keep it moving. We're gonna go into what we were supposed to be discussing before the intermission. Oh, Lord Jesus, I'm never afraid. Let me take off this. Come on to see the picture. So we're going to look at the question that has been on everybody's mind. And I know that quite a few people have been so concerned because, even in our little informal chit chat earlier on, there was a few people were like, how is this possible? How is this possible? Some people were making some statements about how CPS works, and which I had not validated. So I could not say whether or not what they were saying made sense, you understand, or whether or not it was legitimate for the state of Florida. Okay. And as such, I felt compelled because I like it when my graduates over here are informed and educated about about systems and how procedures work. This information will obviously also help people who are interacting with child protection services in the state of Florida, because it's important to know these things. You never know what can happen in life, and you end up having to deal with these systems, right? So I wanted to clarify some of the misconceptions that came out of that earlier live because I don't want you walking away with incorrect information, right? Big up yourself, Tarlops. I see you. And I want you to walk away with a knowledge of how the system works. This is not to say that the information I'm going to present to you may necessarily apply to the case, but it will bring clarity as to how it is possible that this man could end up back in the household, that this man could end up back around the little girl, that this man could end up, coming to visit freely despite the fact that she's in the vicinity, etc., etc. All right. So there are certain instances. First thing that was said on the live before was the fact that um, the case has to stay open for 2 years. That's not true. Okay, it does not have to stay open for 2 years. So I went and found the information about how they work, on what basis they would close a case, etc. And I think that's important to actually share. Now, while the document that I found was specific to Broward County, it was the go to document that was placed on the DCF site for Florida. So it more or less represents what all of the counties would be following. Okay. So I'm going to share that with you. Let me share that with you. Hold on. Give me a thumbs up if you can actually see my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Understand? Yes, thank you so much for that reminder, Tolab. So everybody to like up the live, right? Okay. So according to the document here, it's telling you obviously what the main focus is of Florida's child protection system, which is about remaining safe from keeping children safe from abuse and neglect, while doing everything that they can to keep families together. Pay attention to that part. In addition, it breaks down what child protection investigation is. An investigation results when a call is made to either the hotline claiming that a child is being, abused or neglected, and that the child protective investigator determines if the child in the home has been harmed. Now, it's also as a result of referrals made from courts, as a result of any charges that have been brought to their attention, etc., especially in cases where the child is involved as the victim. Okay, so it's not just about if you call that number, right? Um, so the information is gathered accordingly, right? So I'm going to skip over the parts that are not relevant. Um, in that there are interviews that take place, and they will ask questions of everybody that's involved, the child, and any adults that are within the vicinity. So the investigator will talk to you, your child, family members, and contact others who know the family, such as a teacher or a neighbor. It could even be a family friend. Okay. Now, I'm telling you this so that you can start to think back towards when Chrissy had certain people over during this tumultuous period when everything was under investigation. We saw certain people turning up at the house to visit. The mother was present, etc., etc. These kind of people would be considered key individuals that investigators could speak with regards to vouching for or against what's happening in that household. Florida law specifically directs visits and interviews with the child and family to be unannounced whenever possible, which may result in your child being interviewed without you being present. You may video or audio tape your interview with a protective investigator using your own equipment if it is immediately available. A lawyer may represent you at any point during the investigation. If you choose to delay your interview with the investigator in order to be represented by a lawyer, the investigator will continue to gather information from other persons, including family members. State law authorizes court action if a child is hidden or made unavailable for the purpose of delaying or avoiding the investigation. So people were busy saying that a huge part of the whole case being dismissed or closed was that they suspect that the mother was not cooperating, withdrew the child, or made the child unavailable, etc. And this is telling you that in situations like that, things can escalate quite rapidly, and it's not advisable. I doubt very much that Chrissy actually did that, and I doubt very much she did it even in the case of the CPS. The law also requires you to notify the child protection investigator within 2 business days if you move or if your child's location or living arrangement changes. What are the possible results of the investigation? And this is the part that I need you guys to pay attention to. The investigation regarding your child is required to be completed within 60 days, except in cases involving a child unaliving, a missing child, or when law enforcement has an open criminal investigation. The majority of reports reveal no indication of child abuse or neglect, and the investigation is closed without further action. Now, if you think about it, when I spoke to the Apopka police, the case was still open on their system. When the case was closed, it was about the 30th of December. So that is the period during which there's like the Christmas holidays, the New Year's break, and so on and so forth. Lots of interruption of services. It was not surprising, therefore, that there may have been some overlapping of time between when the courts passed on information to the police and when the police put it into action. In addition to that, they also would have to give time for the Department of Children and Family Services to actually respond to the outcome of the case, because it still would need some investigation on their part. So if we're going to use calculation and talk about 60 days from the closure of this case, it brings us to this current date. You understand? It brings us to this current date. So it makes sense, and I'm talking about in terms of the time frame of the 60 days of investigation. It makes sense why it is that suddenly we are seeing him popping up in the property like it is no big deal. Why it is that she being barefaced and push out her chest and talk about, yeah, it is finally finished. It makes sense. It connects with their procedures and their policies and how they operate if they find that there is no further action that needs to be taken. You understand? Now, it is possible for child protection to extend the time. Don't worry. I'm going to explain how it is that they'd close it and how it is that they wouldn't. It is possible that they could extend the time if they suspect that the family has not been cooperating, if they suspect that things have not been put in place, that the adults involved are not adhering to the referrals that are necessary to safeguard the child, right? So it could extend beyond the 6 months, but there has to be a strong and legitimate case as to why this would extend. Sizzling hot, exactly. Right? So let's carry on. So if the situation is identified, the investigator will explore with you what services and resources may be provided to your family that would allow your child to stay at home while also preventing future situations. And I'm deliberately ignoring the words based on, I don't want to say it too often on YouTube. Based upon your family situation, the investigator will likely consider 1, referring you to a local community agency for help, 2, offering in-home case management services, or 3, asking a judge to grant court-ordered supervision and oversight of your family. In most situations, service referrals, we know about his therapy, and in-home case management services greatly reduce the need for the investigator to recommend taking more serious steps, such as placing your child outside the home, which is definitely going to need court-ordered documentation, right? So they'd have to go to the judge to grant that. So such as placing your child outside the home as allowed by law. You do have the right to refuse the services and assistance offered by the investigator. If you refuse the services, the law requires the investigator to determine whether court oversight is required to protect your child. So it's not a good idea. If they say go to therapy, go to blasted therapy, because then it's going to end up going back to court, and stuff might get worse. The parent of the child and any person alleged to have caused the abuse or neglect may request a copy of the investigative record. This request should be made blah, 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 blah. So that's about you seeing what the investigation was all about. And then it goes into what happens if your child is removed from home, because, and this is really about you not operating within guidance and the directions of child protection services. You understand? Um, or if there is obviously ongoing harm taking place in this situation. So there are circumstances under which it can end. And this plan that is put in place needs to be completed within the 60-day time frame if they're not perceiving any other risk to harm. So while it is that the police would have said, listen, this is the case, that would have been the case at the given time that he has to stay away from the child, that he's no longer allowed to go near her, that he can't go to the premises, those terms and conditions would have to be in existence as a result of what was determined at the time. Child protection basically is a flexible plan that is put in place for the child. It has to be fully flexible and responsive to the needs of the children, the needs of the family. So they can make it a shorter investigation period, or they can make it a longer investigation period, depending on what they found out. You understand? All right. So I hope that part has been made explicitly clear. And what I just find uncanny is how the behaviors have changed literally at the 60-day mark. Literally at the 60-day mark. Now, on what grounds would they not need to extend the 60 days? Closure of the investigation is dependent on the investigator documenting that a complete and comprehensive investigation was conducted. So I am reading from another document now. I'm going to share it with you, but it's so wordy. But just so you know that this is not my words, and this is coming straight from the documents that is on their website. So you should be able to see that on your screen. It is chapter 25 of their policies, dated February 7, 2022. So if you wish to investigate that for yourself and read it in more detail, then you can do that. But I'm not going to kill you with too much of the language. I'm going to just read aloud and let you understand what it means. Okay. So remember, we're working with a time frame here. 30th of November was when he received the no information notice. The police still had not closed the case by the time I had made the call. So the investigation was still ongoing from CPS. So by doing that now, CPS has 60 days within which they need to complete the investigation if they found that the child was no longer in harm's way. And no longer at risk, and that everybody was compliant. You understand? If you notice and if you did the calculation, 60 days would bring us to now. Okay. It would bring us to now. Um, and it would then explain the changed patterns of behavior in the family's household. So, a supervisor must make a professional judgment that all the necessary, sufficient information must be detailed to provide rationale for all critical decisions made, particularly the determination of findings and the overall determination of a safe or an unsafe child, as the case may be. A supervisor must make a professional judgment that all necessary child and family interviews, collateral contacts, supervisory and or professional consultations were adequately conducted, described and documented. So if you really think about it, even in terms of attendance to counseling and so on, by that 60-day mark, if they're happy with it, he should have attained some depth to his counseling, and the same for everybody else involved, including Jay. So they would have had sufficient feedback from the relevant parties, the referred parties, to say that, listen, yes, he has been sticking to it, he has been coming, he has responded well, he's been putting things into consideration, he's been behaving differently, he's changed his behavior, so on and so forth. And this would obviously explain a lot in terms of why it is that they had to delete and wipe certain things from their social medias. Because as a part of the process, they do, in fact, search through social media to see the behaviors of the family members involved. Okay? It's a part of their assessments. So the decision point for determining if an investigation is appropriate for closure should not be compliance based, meaning based primarily on procedures per se, procedures completed, right? But on whether the investigative activities provide sufficient information to fully assess the quality and thoroughness of it. So, really and truly, that decision is not just about whether or not he finished the counseling. He could still be ongoing with the counseling. She could still be in counseling. The mother could also still be in counseling or be in counseling, right? But it's about how thorough have they calculated or put together all of the information to say, yes, they have complied. There will be times when a final interview with the alleged maltreating caregiver and or the child's parent is necessary to share results of the investigator's information gathering and analysis, clarify any discrepancies or gaps in information, reassess the initial safety determination, or share the risk assessment score with the family in order to motivate the parents to become more involved in intervention programs, as the case may be. So, they're going to check with them, make sure, say, they're sticking to what they're supposed to stick to, that they're making the necessary adaptations, changes, steps, and that the child's safety is paramount in all of these situations and risk is minimized. The investigator is responsible for ensuring that the family knows the outcome of the investigation, including the family's risk assessment score. So, if the score is low and it starts to get higher and higher, that's a good thing. If it starts to drop, then you are at closer risk of your child being taken away. That's something to note. Okay? Um, so, a couple of reasons why a case may be closed early is if, for example, they were unable to locate um, either the victim or the um, the perpetrator, right? So if it's a case of they have left the state of Florida for more than 30 days, that's one reason why it could end, okay? But it doesn't mean that it would end nationwide. What that would do is it would trigger a statewide alert, and then it would trigger further actions outside of the state. So people would be looking for the child or looking for the perpetrator. You know, there might be warrants out for arrests or questioning or whatever might happen. So that's one of the reasons why, if they have an unable to locate condition, that a case could be closed. When that happens, then they have to be very diligent with searching for the people that are involved in the case via school records, friends, relatives, financial checks, credit checks, employment, postal services, academic records, phone bill, utility bill, medical records, social media. They would search through all of these things to see if they can locate, right? The individuals. We all know that did not happen when it came to Jay and her family. They were very much in state. Um, there's also situations where they have no jurisdiction. That does not apply in this case, okay? So I'm not going to go into this. That's why I'm telling you, I'm skipping through things so that you don't end up hearing a whole bunch of information that is not relevant, but I will still pull out things that may apply to other people, okay? All right. Um, so another reason is when the non caregiver, as in the maltreating caregiver, does not meet the statutory definition of a caregiver. Listen carefully. A non caregiver is a person who now look after the pitney. And they may be the one who did the maltreatment, but they are not the primary caregiver or the person that is chiefly responsible for the child's welfare. Listen, because this is the most important one. So when the Florida statute defines a caregiver, what they're saying is that this person is the one that is in charge of them most of the time, not a minimal caregiver like, say, a teacher or a dance instructor or somebody like that. That's not considered to be a main caregiver. I'm talking about somebody who's feeding them, clothing them, taking them to and from their school, taking them to medical appointments, those people are the main caregivers, okay? And when the person who is the maltreating caregiver is not present as the main caregiver, then this is also an opportunity to end the case. And I did say this earlier, that one of the reasons why them take CMR and put him in this property was to give the impression that he was far removed from the child. In addition to that, this whole display of not wearing a ring and going on as though he's not present in the house and he's not visiting and he's not there, and going on as though he was not, involved in gym visits and all them kind of something. Because remember, you guys don't really know the exact date that they filmed these things, A lot of these things that they are filming are in the back. You understand? Yes? And they will deliberately plant spanners of non-chronological evidence in their lives to make you think during a life that, oh, I'm starting the gym soon this week when I last week them go. You hear? Because them smart like that. So you might be thinking, oh, this happened then and that happened then and it never happened then. Yeah? So they have to then give the impression that this adult is not involved as the main caregiver who provides supervision and care for the child. And therefore, there is no reason for them to be weary of that child being put in harm's way. And that has to last for at least 60 days. And if during that time they're thinking, yep, he's not coming here, he's not there, and then she's doing all these blogs expressing all this, oh, I have to learn to be strong and I have to do this by myself and I have to do this, and all the theatrics that she does. And I have to show the world that I'm strong and I have to this. And then you now see the narrative unfolding and changing before your flipping eyes. And you're seeing them becoming more and more brazen to show that he's present in the property, that he's there around the child, etc., etc. That's telling you a big thing, that they've already conducted their chopping the line of the system to give the impression that they were completely separated when in fact they're not. Yeah, in fact they're not. Hmm. That's a very good question, Talops. That's a very, very good question. So obviously, another reason would be if the victim is out of state, as in they are no longer in Florida, but they're in another state. So we're not talking about when they're missing, and they're not expected to return to the state. Then they would then pass on the information, close the case in Florida, but pass on the information to the relevant agency, and child protection services of that other state. Okay, so that is what would happen in that case. So even though it would close in Florida, it would open wherever it is that they have moved to. Yes. Um, so then also there is patently unfounded closures. The use of patently unfounded closure is dependent upon a supervisor concurring with the investigator's determination that there is compelling and credible evidence which is in direct contrast to the alleged maltreatment and enables the investigator to understand why the report was likely made in good faith by the reporter. Patently unfounded closures are markedly different from both false reports and reports closed with no indicator of findings. All right. So this does not apply because it doesn't apply, right? At the end of the day, there was no lie told. There was just a closed case. But they're saying basically that if it is that, listen, we've dug deeper into this report and we're finding out that this young lady, she may have had other reasons. It wasn't a false report, but she may have embellished. It may not have been the details that she said. It may have happened to somebody else and then she report it as though it's her, or which is not a false report but it's a report with incorrect findings. Or it could be that this girl, she said these things, but at the end of the day the man never did it 3 times. He may have done it once, whatever. So if they're finding that there are things going on in the case that's like, hang on a minute, this is the complete opposite to what we were hearing, seeing, what we read, then that might be a reason. But that's a very difficult thing. It's got to be compelling, credible evidence that shows that there's nothing to support the maltreatment. I don't even know how them would have did pull that one there off, but yeah, that is another reason why they could close it, right? That's another reason that they would close it. The closure designation represents investigations closed with the children determined to be safe, without services to the family, or when the child protective investigator has only made community referrals on behalf of the family. This is called closing with no services. So it could be that you either close with services, meaning that, okay, we're going to close, but you, sir, you're going to carry on doing your deviant behavior therapy. You, ma'am, you're going to carry on doing some parental courses. Little girl, you're going to still see your counselor, however many times a week in case things change, right? Or we could close it and say, listen, without a doubt, these children are safe. There's no reason for them to have any community referrals, because community referrals are not run by CPS, but they will report to CPS if they find anything out of place. These are literally voluntary sector organizations and stuff that are set up, what you call NGOs, that are set up to work with children. Or there may be local health and well-being organizations that are connected to the government but not under the jurisdiction of CPS, who will work with the child, the perpetrator, the parents, okay, the main caregiver. So you could end up with either case happening, that you end up closing with no services or closing with service. All children in a household are determined safe, and the risk of future maltreatment is low or moderate. And the supervisor agrees with the investigator's determination that there are no ongoing issues in the family that would warrant any community referrals would fall under closing with no services. Also, that all the children in the household are safe and the risk of future maltreatment is low or moderate. And the investigator has identified an unmet need in the family that can be addressed via a community referral by the investigator. Investigators may make referrals to assist the family in accessing community resources at any point throughout the investigation would be considered closing with service. All right. So those are the two types of closes, right? They're still safe in both instances, but their future maltreatment might be more than moderate or low. It might be high or very high, and they have to carry on doing support programs. So we don't know whether or not any of these things apply, but I am giving you the full story so that you have got clarity and understanding of the legal processes and what's involved when it comes to child protection and how it works in Florida. Because I'm conscious that a lot of people are saying a lot of stuff that, oh, it's going to stay open for 2 years. That's not true. It's 60 days. That it can't be dismissed early because there was a child. No, it can. They can close it earlier than 60 days. 60 days is their working deadline if they have found that there is no issue. What was interesting is the fact that the 60 days does take us to the concurrent date that we have now. And it does make sense as to why he's now popping up everywhere all of a sudden, and they're being so sloppy with editing, and have no issue with the child going, oh, daddy's home, and keeping that in the video, etc., etc., and how the brother is now comfy and sweet and going to stay there and hitch up in at his studio, and you know what I'm saying, right? And the porridge and all of that. So it's clear to me that they played their cards well, placing him in a separate space, um, not wearing the ring, showing no intimacy on camera, making it clear that any kind of communication was strictly about the co-parenting, about the other kids, ensuring that there was no kind of crossing over of boundaries with certain things to make sure that child protection was kept off their back, bringing in external family members and friends to vouch for them. Him going and, well, that's one of the reasons why he was wanting people to come and and recommend stuff, reference him, so to speak. And of course, me exposing him through a spanner in the works when he was trying to tidy up on the other side like nothing happened. Um, and made him had to sit back because then he doesn't want to jeopardize anything that could lead to the actual removal of the child from his access and his household from his access altogether, because that could have a knock-on effect on the other girls. You understand? So he had to re-strategize and just stick to the books as much as he possibly could. Where are there Christian workers to tell her not to play with God when it's convenient for her? Guy, you're not Christian, you're a wicked woman. No, well, a lot of people who say God don't necessarily be that they're Christian. Tashelle, I saw you put up a video and then you took it down. I went to go watch it and it was gone. I'm sure there was a reason why, a good reason why. I hope you did not blow when you were doing that video, when you said yes, the devil can send you blessings. And yes, the devil can bless you, because the devil can bless you and keep you in a position that makes you feel comfortable and complacent, and that all is going to go well, and then by the time you look, is sudden destruction, because the devil never gives you anything without claiming your soul back. You hear? Never. It's never ever going to go the way you think it's going to go. So you know something, a God them say that them are called pan. So he whom sees all things permitted CPS to be unable to any further because he is taking over from here. Yeah. So if we're going to put it in God's hands, then God will make sure that whatever happens next will not be able to be covered up. That's for sure. And it's clear to me that these people have gone out of their way to ensure that the Child Protection Service thinks that the only person that is around this little girl that's caring about her and making sure is the primary caregiver, which is the mother. And by removing him from the picture, it shows that she has taken the appropriate steps to do what is necessary to protect the little girl, to protect Jay. Now, her decorating the place, is really about her making sure that her children who will go to that property are comfortable. So she can explain it away that way because she's also safeguarding her own kids, if that makes sense. Listen to it. So it's showing that she is a principal caregiver for all of the children involved and showing there's a balance between the two homes, including the one where his biological children will be visiting, that they have their creature comforts, etc. Remember, say in Putin, same Brock, right? So she make sure say them have what them need and everybody's comfortable and ray. She is then showing that she is not treating any child any different from the other and so on and so forth, that everybody is being treated equally. Um, and now that we're seeing him popping up and we're seeing him present, we're also seeing her snapping at the girl. And Helium says she never put in any Bible studies because Bible studies never blouse and skirt necessary about it corrupt. You too lie. You understand? Now you're gonna do it because people realize Satan not dead no more. I know because the Bible studies wasn't there because she never needed to do the Bible study anymore. She never need to do the Bible study anymore because the Bible study is all a part of the theatrics and to give the impression to child protection services that all is well and she's, developing her children well and she's being an exceptional mother and she's a mother first and she's developing them spiritually, physically, all of that, all of them. But because people start saying, but wait there. She come and talk about how I don't know how all of the other files were fine, but that file was corrupt. Him have to go put it in again because the people them not ready for let it go, my loves. Yes? Them not ready for let it go. That little girl told her mom what was happening before she went to school and she did nothing. You genuinely believe that? It's not impossible. It's not impossible. The fact that she helped Seymour out during this whole investigation speaks to the type of mother that she is. Yeah, you can it's so evident and plain as day exactly how they played it out step by step. It's clear as day how they played it out step by step. So you see, from this point on, if we do see that man comfortable in that house, then you will know that this is exactly what she did and what led up to this. If it is that he has to stay out his lease period, because we don't know how long the rent period was for the property that he was in, then he may end up staying out, in that property for another few whatever. But if he doesn't have to stay, I am sure that with expediency, that man will be back in the house proper. He's walking in and out like in a man a yard, a turn on light, a turn off light, ray. When she was, before she deleted it out with her deceitful self. So the comfort level is evident. Parija sheer ray, because they have played their game. Now, whether or not the case can be reopened, another person did raise that on the last live. Can a case be reopened? Yes, but given the way child protection services are operating now, without a direct report of something to be concerned about, the likelihood of this is minimum. The likelihood of that is minimal. right? So just bear that in mind also. Um, Maybe the brother will continue to stay in the apartment until the lease is up. Maybe that's what it is because we've seen a few of the blogs where he was nowhere to be found, right? And it was just the brother in the premises. And it's not like he had started uni just yet, or maybe he did, I don't know. But at the end of the day, we've seen that. So maybe that's the case already. Like I said, they lie. So when you see their blogs going out and it's like, oh, this week this is happening, that's happening, then probably do it already. Remember, so Jamaican people say too, rather than make somebody spoil on a business, or no, we tell lie and say, this week we had do this and that happened for 2 weeks ago. So if anybody will go cause problem in our own life, it done gone. You see what I'm saying? So you can't be so gullible to what these people say on their platforms because they're claiming God. Yeah, them was settings and telling the things to setting up, and then it not go so. But it's playing into the narrative that they need to paint in order to put this thing behind them quick and fast. Quick and fast. Them thing they them not like me far why them a send them like a dirty troll. Make up yourself OMGGGTV. You understand? Guys, make sure you follow OMGGGTV. Listen, when I don't have time to recap OMGGGTV, I'm telling you that girl's got an eagle eye. She don't miss nothing. Make sure you follow her, right? She literally misses nothing. Okay. Her analysis skills are top notch and she misses no details. I love the reviews. They're very, very good. It won't be reopened because it won't need to be reopened because something else will happen. But let me think about it though, Hakuna. Let me think about it, right? Let me think about it. After this little girl go through what she go through, people, think about it, After she go through what she go through, you genuinely think say if something happen again, she go out her way for go through that all over again, that whole process? When she says she do the report, she do the things them, she talk. Only na she say it still no work out in her favor and it is still possible that this man is just going to be around the place. That in itself is such a defeat. Hmm? Can't beat him, join him, How easy is it going to be for her to come forward another time round and actually express that this thing has repeated itself? Hmm? Given how things went. As Survivor Han say she will not say anything to anyone at all. And it's like, and not seeing how serious this can be. So when I see these people coming and they want to attack and they want to make up their noise, let me tell you guys something. You guys are sick and genuinely don't have an understanding about how these things can affect the actual victims of situations like this. Um, and this is more about educating your mindset than cussing, because it's easy for me to come out and telling about the parts, we come from my page or try drag me with some idiot video will never make no sense. You understand? But rather than get to the point where you end up losing your channel, can take on a channel, It's just that I'm being merciful. Are coming up and chatting crap unnecessarily. Think and put yourself in that child's shoes. Develop the sixth sense of empathy. Develop the ability to predict based on circumstances. And imagine for a moment what that will feel like for that girl. But no, it's more about money for you guys. You are the ones who are preoccupied with finance and money and things. That's why the first thing jump out of an emote is, oh, a bad mind if you have things for your house, for your car, for your this, for your that, because you guys are the rugrats. You guys are the ones who literally have got nothing up your backsides. And the only thing you can imagine that it has to be this, why it is that we are here saying the things that we are saying. Nobody advocated for you. They will not like her. I'm liking your comments tonight, Sizzling Hot. Another one from Sizzling Hot. They will not like her because she mash up them perfect social media family look. Hey. And they're not gonna see that because let me tell you something, the real mask, the real face behind the mask rather, is not going to reveal itself until these professionals have completely stepped away from the picture, you know. You see, when the professionals have completely stepped away from the picture and it's just them, at that time the realness are gonna come out. That's the time. That's the time it's gonna come out. And the only thing, people, that can turn all this on its head, and you have Chrissy coming out here and going, "All I wanna go shame," is when is if it is that she took the guts to actually step away from this, but we don't see that happening. She is too embedded and too connected and um too all over the place with her priorities. She has nowhere going. It's very obvious and it's very clear to us. Because there's co-parenting and there's co-parenting. When him dep on phone with her, call her babes and all them kind of something there. That is him showing you guys, him deliberately keep that because him want to see so him still connected to the woman. Yes? No slip on our tongue. It's very deliberate. It's kind of fool. So when you know how to play the system, and no doubt she's being advised. I told you that she got some aunties that's telling her what to do. She got some aunties telling her what to do to beat this. You see me, I say? She got some aunties telling her what to do to beat this situation. No doubt some of them work in some of these services and I tell her step for step by step what to do. She might just, so let me see what Natalie's saying here. It's scary. Yeah, man, it's scary for real. OMGGG TV, it's scary. She might just shut down if it happens again or speak louder until someone listens. Listen, it could be either that she shuts down, it could be more drastic than just speaking louder, my love. You understand? We have to be very, very vigilant and prayerful about the situation, but there's nothing much that we can do. And I like it when my graduates are in the know. That's why Taman is behaving like that. Bible study done. Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's because people were clamoring for it. Why she come with some story? But oh, it was a current file, and I'll do it again now. You never needed to do it. It was that the charade had already been played out for the purpose of getting this thing closed within the 60-day period. Mm? And that's basically it. Those men don't change. No. So Sexy B says, true, because I work in that field, lots of loopholes if you know the rules. Big up yourself. There you go. And Sexy B will be able to tell you guys if the documents I'm reading for are not authentic and whether or not me I make up crap. Right? Because if Sexy B work in the arena, she would know. So when me I say a facts. This is how it works. This is how it works. This is how they play the system. And that's why she feel like she could have come out, come beat up her chest the way she did. Because she know what she do to ensure that this goes. She corrupt just as the file. You better believe it. She will push forgiveness down the child's throat to get her to forget about it. Absolutely. And that is the whole purpose of, you know, the whole initiation of that child into the being the leader of Bible studies and whatever. She wants her to be fully focused, right? Fully focused on the word and the whole thing about forgiveness and forgiving sins. Big up yourself, Sexy Bee. Yes, I did do my homework. I did. Because after that live, I said, you know something? Mega go and mega really read into this because it's clear to me that we're missing something here. You understand? I would sell that blouse and skirt and give him his part of the money. Me and him not running shoulder. Well, there you go. That is what women of worth and value would do. It would make sense to do that. That is what women of real strength and character would do. Yes, but not in this case. So we're going to sit back and we're going to watch. Now, I did notice that, um, you know, he he's still there without his ring and blah blah blah. So as I said, while this may appear to be a 60-day thing where he's able to be back in the house and it's not a big deal, if they extend it or if they revisit it, it has to be with good reason. And if it is that he's had no services after this point, it has to be with good reason. Likewise, if he has to still carry on doing services and everybody has to still be doing their counseling and their therapy and whatever, it's got to be with good reason. All of these things are very well structured and thought out, to make sure that the aim is to keep families together, they say, right? It's only in those extreme cases where the child is outside of the home and it's actually more difficult and more complicated to give the thumbs up for the child to return, right? That's an even deeper case in itself. So, people, don't make them fool you. Don't make them fool you. We're going to stay wise to the thing. We're still going to be here paying attention to make sure that Jay is kept safe no matter what, right? And I know that there are people who are never going to drop the ball where this is concerned. This is going to be a persistent thing for as long as they're on social media. I don't know how else to say it, right? I will meander in and out of different topics because at the end of the day, if the case has been dealt with and I then see him back in, then I know for a fact that it has been closed by CPS. If I see all of that happen, then I know it's the case. But until then, there are still question marks around the circumstances and the motivation behind her deleting that part of the video. You understand? I'm trying to figure out how that woman go lay down back with a man that is attracted to her daughter. I mean, no, I don't know how that happens. I don't know. That is crazy. Yeah, it will not stop, Miss Misty Brown. It will not stop until I see that scenario, right? Once I see that scenario, there's nothing more for me to say, but it don't mean that I won't be looking through the back of my head. You understand? Come my eye and work 360, you know. So for me, I won't be looking. You understand? But I just won't be dwelling on the topic. That has to be the point for me, right? A true mother would have divorced that man. Yes, yes, absolutely. And it now about. We're not fools. We're absolutely not fools. We're graduates for a reason, not a season, at the end of the day. And that is why them have to try. You understand? Um, but yes, on that note, please make sure that you like up the live. And I really and truly hope that you have found this live, educational. I hope it's raised your awareness. And I know it may have raised some anxiety and concerns. You understand, but there are systems that we have to work within, and we have to just keep an observation going without jumping to conclusions. Um, just be aware, pray for that little girl, pray for her strength and her emotional protection. Those of you who are prayer warriors, and I'm not even sure if it's worth saying pray for the mother that she gets some strength and wisdom, but if you wish to, you can do that too, because hello, the child is nothing without the parents being in a sensible space. You understand? um so do what is necessary, but all I know is that him being present at the property is not because of them not complying. Oh, and yes, my contact did send me an update on the report to Child Protection Services about the video where he was seen going into the downstairs, is it downstairs toilet or powder room? I don't know. And being present in the house. And just like I said, they have come back to say that there is no indication of imminent harm for the child. There's no reasonable cause for an alarm to be raised or a case to be raised on the basis of what was observed in those videos. So it's done nothing. Like I said, because the little girl is not there in the videos, and these are the kind of things that I need people to be aware of and be vigilant about. Because, making these reports, okay, fine, it may make you feel better, it may paint a bigger picture, but you don't want to interfere unnecessarily unless you've got the right information to put forward. And like somebody said in my previous live, it's important that you refer to the statutes. So go and find the child protection policies, refer to the statutes that you think they may have been in breach of, and use them. So if you're using the right language, then they may take it seriously. But you have got to have the right evidence to match the language, if that makes sense. I will never discourage anybody to report anything they see that's inappropriate to CPS, but they're also inundated. Let's not waste their time. Um, so yes, do light up the live with the Purple Hearts. We are not going to stop discussing these issues, raising awareness, letting the people know exactly what's what. All right. Keep Jay in your prayers. That's all we can do. We still stand with her no matter what. Purple Hearts, alert Jamaicans for justice. This now about justice for Jay. This is your girl, Head Teacher K, and I am out. Like up the live, people on your way. Bye bye.